Go next to Durban, where we find our reporter Judith Subin. Judith, a very good morning to you. We are experiencing a bit of a delay here, but what is the situation? You are at the scene where that march happened yesterday, the anti-xenophobia march. Tell us, what's the situation this morning?
Good morning, Yuveka. Well, this is a very busy CBD scene. As you can see, life seems to have returned to normal following the eruption of violence yesterday afternoon on Dr. Pixley Kaseme Street, which is where I'm standing. A few hundred meters behind me is City Hall, where the peace march had ended, and a few hundred meters in front of me is where police and 1,000 people had a clash and a face-off. Those images that we saw yesterday with police in yalas guarding the street, officers who were heavily armed moving forward and dispersing the crowd. And that seems to have completely dissipated this morning. However, there are some remnants of what had happened yesterday. If you look along the street corner and along the street side, you'll see placards, xenophobic violence placards speaking against it, saying, "Say no to xenophobia." The latest from KwaZulu-Natal police, though, saying that 9 people have been arrested, mostly for illegal gathering following yesterday's violence. And they've released a statement saying that they believe that KwaZulu-Natal police successfully policed yesterday's march, and this is despite, as we say, the violence that we saw yesterday.
Judith, we are battling to hear you, but your audio is a bit low, so if you could maybe just pick up your microphone a little bit, that might help, I'm not sure. But just give us some idea as well about the safety camps that we are seeing foreigners being housed in. Just what is the situation there, if you've been updated, and also, are they safe?
Well, the latest with the camps is that government has once again come out saying that these are temporary facilities, and there is a definite plan to ensure that these camps come down at some point, because the main goal is reintegration. They want to ensure that while people are staying there, they are safe, and so there are security measures like barricades that have been put up and armbands to ensure that intruders are not allowed inside these camps. But there are very many complaints from inside these camps. The last camp we visited was Isipingo, which was just yesterday, and we saw scuffles among some of the foreigners who were being housed there, who were very angry and confronted media, saying to them that they didn't feel that their plight was being accurately portrayed in the images or the footage that was being showed across South Africa and the world. They felt that as if it was being glossed over, and that government and officials were being given some kind of tap on, or pat on the back rather, for their efforts, and they're not happy with the way the situation has panned out. They're not happy that women and children are being forced to sleep in cramped conditions, that it's unhygienic, that there's issues with sanitation, and so there's many gripes over the way in which they're being housed. Of course, we know in the Chatsworth camp, which is the biggest, that figure fluctuates between 1,500, sometimes up to 2,000 people sleeping in that camp, many of which are sleeping out in the cold with just a blanket to separate them from the ground. Personally, I saw many women and children sleeping on the ground, and of course that's not an environment for a little baby to be sleeping in with dew falling on them. It's completely conducive for diseases to spread, and
Judith, over the past 2 or 3 days, we've also seen the violence spreading from the Durban CBD to outside, to areas north of Durban, like we saw Verulam, KwaMashu, Phoenix. We also saw reports coming in from northern KZN, like areas like Dalton and so forth. What's the situation there? Have those situations quietened down? Are police also still vigilant in those parts?
Well, I've chatted with KwaZulu-Natal police this morning to find get an update on the latest events and to see how the night had gone. As we know, the nighttime is generally the time with which these incidents seem to be sprouting up, and it's a time of concern, a period of concern for police officials. However, the latest is that there were no incidents reported overnight, and they've given it the all clear up until now. They have stressed that there will be patrols of these hotspots, and they will continue to patrol these hotspots. They said yesterday, for example, hundreds of officers were deployed, not just to this area where we saw the peace march being disrupted, but to the Point area where there was clashes earlier this week, as well as at the Dalton Hostel, as you mentioned, in Aril. There's just a general surveillance of all the hotspots, and that this will continue for some time to come until they are absolutely sure that xenophobic violence has simmered down.
And the weekend is here, Judith. Are they expecting an escalation of violence, and are they prepared?
Well, at this stage, they are hoping and praying that there won't be any further incidents. But as I say, they will continue to be patrolling these areas with as much manpower as possible. This includes the 100 officers who have been brought in from outside the province to assist KwaZulu-Natal police in ensuring that not just foreigners but locals are kept safe. There were very many shops in the CBD that were shut down, not just in the affected area but north of the city, for fear that the violence would spread to other areas that have not been touched thus far.
All right, so it's business as usual this morning, Judith, in the CBD where you are.
It seems that way, Yuveka, as the morning gets underway. Many people are on their way to work. I did chat with a few people who work in this area and started opening up their stores, and they've still expressed a deep-seated fear that there could be other incidents that occur. And so they're constantly watching their surroundings, watching to see if there might be incidents that sprout up in case they need to shut down business, close their doors and head home. We know yesterday in the Point area, for example, many businesses were closed down for a second day, and KwaZulu-Natal officials as well as national ministers who form part of the security cluster have expressed deep concern that this could impact on the economy. However, they've moved to allay these fears and assured business owners that they're doing everything that they possibly can to ensure the business is not affected and that everything should continue as normal.
Very much for that update. That's our reporter Judith Subin. She's in the Durban CBD for us this morning.